Hey drawing class, this assignment is going to be about gradients. And gradients are a way to study value, and value is something you'll hear me talk a lot about this semester because really the key to descriptive realistic drawing is gaining a real sensitivity to value. And value is simply a measure of the relative light and darkness. And when you look at a scene, one of your biggest jobs as an artist is going to be to translate the scene into the appropriate value using your drawing materials. And this assignment is a way just to start to understand how the different drawing media that we use express value and become one with these materials. Okay? So here's what I would like you all to do. Set up your page like this. So I have made four 20-inch long rectangles that I've divided into 10 different 2-inch squares. Okay. And each one of these we're going to use a different drawing material to create a gradient. And with these, basically we're going to start with the vine charcoal, and what I want you to do is draw as dark a black as you can in this last square and fill it all the way in. And then on the first square, you'll make the lightest gray that you can. And to make a really light gray, you might end up having to smudge this, and you might end up having to use one of your eraser tools to get it as light as possible. So this should be just barely visible, really, if you do it correctly. And this is a kneaded eraser I'm using, like a sponge, to pick up some of that. And then, really what you want to do is make this one step darker, 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 until you reach this value. And this might be a little bit harder than you think. I think this is the great way to approach it. Do the darkest one, do the lightest one, and then kind of in the middle, put one that's the middle gray, and branch off from there. To do this correctly, you need to fill in the whole square with a uniform value or shade of gray for it, and there should be a noticeable step between each cell of the gradient. So if you sit back and look at it and it seems like one cell is kind of just bleeding into another and you don't see a clearly defined step between it, keep at it, keep working it, and work that surface until you can see a clearly defined step between each one. So we'll start with vine charcoal, and then the next rectangle we'll use our compressed charcoal. And this stuff is really black. This gives you your darkest black of any of the drawing media that we'll use, and great for doing shadow areas in your drawings. And you can see it has a little bit different feel than the compressed charcoal. So same thing. Do light as possible and then a step darker until you get to the blackest black. The next one will be using your drawing pencils. And you might have a set of 12, you might have 24, you might have 6 depending upon the set that you got, but they all work basically the same way. You'll see numbers that go from H to B. And the H's, the highest number in H is going to be your hardest pencil, but also the one that's the lightest. And then you'll go up through your highest number in the B's, and that'll be your softest and darkest lead. So use your complete set of drawing pencils. And this one is 6B that I have, so that would be the darkest one. And so in this cell, you would get the darkest, softest lead and fill in this whole square with that one. And then work your way through your set of pencils, working down this way to the highest number H that you have. And we'll use all of these drawing materials together in a drawing. It's really common to use them all. So places where you might need compressed charcoal to make your really dark shadows, and then other places where you might use these pencils to do fine details on top of charcoal that you've smudged. So they're all interchangeable and work well together. And the last one is a little bit different. With this one, we'll use a subtractive technique. So on the last one, what I'd like for you to do is basically color every square as dark as you can to start off with your compressed charcoal. And then use your kneaded eraser like a sponge and come back in and see if you can create a gradient that's subtractive, or basically mean you're erasing from the dark value and lightening it up as you go. And create a gradient where you've taken this whole row of dark black and made it a step lighter each time by using just your kneaded eraser. So that's our next assignment. Please let me know if you have any questions, and best of luck.